All right, this is tool stories number 2. Now, every tool I own has a story to it, whether it was a good tool, a bad tool, a tool that led me up to finding a better solution. Now, when you build a lot of units or a lot of projects, which I've done, I'm 70 years old, thousands of projects, okay? I have hundreds of them still in the house, and I've been throwing some of them out. I've been scrapping, for over a year, I've been scrapping projects out, taking the key parts off them, categorizing them, and putting them in the correct bin, okay? So I've realized that how many more projects I built than the average person, okay, or anybody. I'm equal with a lot of the top builders, okay? Let's put it that way. And it's because I really wanted to get a job working with an engineer. Now, I did accomplish that, but only for calibration. He did calibration of RCA. He got me in the program. I would learn how to do calibration of all the test equipment. But I never actually got to work where I fabricate circuit boards and chassis and stuff. I did do test beds, okay, but not under an engineer. I did those on my own where I worked. I would take a machine apart and make it so you could pull any circuit board in and out in a matter of seconds. So when you troubleshot the circuit board, you could quickly put it in the test bed to see if you had actually fixed it. Okay. Now this episode is pin vices. All right, and a lot of you are going to say, "What's a pin vice?" You're not really a builder. A pin vice. People that do a lot of building know what pin vices are. Now, the first mistake you make is you buy this type. Okay, it looks good. You know, it's got a swivel top. It operates just like a jeweler's screwdriver. The problem is, first of all, you open this up, and let's do this one. When you open it up, it should have a jaws in there. What the hell's going on? Anyway, there should be extra jaws. I probably have them in a box somewhere. But in other words, here's the jaws, or the collet. You could call this a collet. And usually there should be ones in the back. But see, I've lost respect for this tool. And I'm going to tell you why. It's probably made by General Tool. And I bought 2 of them. And I had them set up with different drill bits in them. When you hold your finger here and you turn it like a jeweler's screwdriver, any real heavy resistance on the part of the drill bit will cause this to unscrew and come apart on you. It doesn't seem like it would, but it does. And as you're working it, you can feel it unscrewing. Okay, it's sort of like on those friction jaws on cheap drills, the new battery-powered drills. You put the drill bit in there and you tighten the type that's got the clutch, the jaws. In other words, it doesn't have key. And this is the same thing. As you start working with it, it comes loose. Okay? So I had this type, and it was junk. It was actual torture to use it. But I could keep several bits, different size drill bits in them while I was doing operations. Okay? Mostly working with plastic and stuff. Now, I worked in a place. Now this is the unit they used, and it held operation scallops. No, it had X-Acto blades in it, but they were used for in the operating room, and they would put those blades in here, and the girls put mounds of tape around this thing, and what it was is they were scratching and picking circuit boards. Western Electric used silk screening to make their circuit boards. And they took steel, and they put porcelain on the steel, and then they plated it using silk screening. So sometimes the silk screening got sloppy, and they had shorts. So they'd send the boards down the willway, and the girls would sit there, and they had memorized the patterns. It was the same circuit board over and over for telephone systems. And the girls were pickers and scratchers. And they had to do 1,000 boards a day or 500 boards, anyway. And these were very coveted. The girls didn't like losing this. They would get up. There was a crappier brand than this. And how I got this one was I used to clean outside. the company. I'd pick up trash and stuff. And one of the girls on break, she took this tool out here, it had all tape on it, and then she threw it down on the ground. Somehow it got down on the ground with the trash. So I knew what it was, so I took it home. I didn't go looking for her. I didn't hear her complaining, so I took it home, cleaned it all up, and you can put an X-Acto blade in here, or you can actually put a drill bit. Okay, let's see if we get the right side here. Tighten it up. All right, so now you can work that drill bit. And sometimes you're working something, you need to open up a hole, but you can't get the hand drill in there. Okay, so you put a drill bit in a pin vise and you work that hole. Also, you can get a rivet out. There's many reasons. Oh, and you can also just put a piece of steel in here and use it as a scribe. Okay, but pin vise has many uses if you're into modeling. If you're not into modeling or doing lots of repairs, you have no use for one of these. All right, but this came from Wilway. Like I said, it was out on the ground. The girl discarded it like it was garbage. Had a lot of tape around it. And the tape is they had to work with them so many hours it hurt their hands and cut their hands. So they get blisters, water blisters. So they had a lot of tape and foam on these things. So I saw the thing and I took it home and I've used it a lot. So this, after playing with this nonsense, this you could really lay into the drill bit. Okay? So this was my go-to tool. And I kept these, well, I don't know, but listen to that noise. Wait, hear that? It's going in the garbage because that's where that tool belongs. Okay, so I bought these, and then I was cleaning the factory out. And the guy I was cleaning the factory out was that engineer I always talk about, lived on my block. He got me the job cleaning the company out. Now, he was a pack rat, he was a hoarder, and what he wanted was the company cleaned up and organized like it was still in operation. All right, something wrong with him? Absolutely. So what I did was I had talked with his boss. I said, look, I'll take care of this. I slowly moved all the machinery and tools down to the back building. Every morning I go the furthest point out in this factory complex and move stuff back towards the loading dock to get rid of it, to sell it. And the guy would come in every day and he would touch everything. He had to touch every unit. He's nuts. Okay. So one day he says to me, can you look? I was supposed to be cleaning the place up. There's a door down there in the drafting room and it won't open and close. So it bothered him. He couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So I got down on my hands and my knees, looked under the door, and I saw this. And this is a Starrett pin vise. It's really nice. Now, I had been finding stuff in the building, and that guy would take it, and he'd go, ooh, ooh, and he'd be handling the stuff, ooh, like he was going to bring the company back. So when I found this, I said, don't give it to him. Keep it. You found what's wrong with the door. This was stuck under the door, and I brought this home. And I use this. This is one of my favorite go-tos. And after I punch a hole in a piece of metal with this thing, sometimes I come right in with this. All right, and get in there and make sure that hole is good. So when that drill press comes down, it finds that hole and puts it in the right place, okay? And then, liking these, I went and bought these on eBay. And it comes as a set. There's even one that's even bigger. Okay, it comes as a set. But there are certain sizes the collet won't grip. None of them will grip it. And this will, and this will, okay? But one of them is the drill bit to drill a 256 hole. And I know, you know, the collets have ranges. Let me show you what a collet is inside. It's like a jaw, okay? And most of the collets on some units can be turned around. Now, a better set of pin vices, the collet can't be turned around. Only the cheap stuff. The stuff I just threw in the garbage, and my fingernails are long. I got to remember to cut them. I'm a very eccentric person. But I just wanted to show you, there are tools that unless someone has shown you them, or someone loaned you a tool and you use it, you're like, I've never seen this before. And I got a feeling that the younger people coming up haven't seen any of this stuff. Okay? This is their cutters for electronics now. This is what they're selling you. You know, this is what we used to use. You know, you have Diagonal cutters, come in all different sizes. Got this kind, okay? And then your needle nose pliers, different sizes. I have these in all different sizes. You know, when I'm wiring up, I have very specific pliers I have to use for steps. This thing I bought in high school, and it doesn't even really have a brand name. I think it's made in USA. But my father picked it. This tool isn't finished that well. You might say Japan on it. Well, anyway, I bought this tool for like $1.95. I use it all the time. It's got a pair of cutters in here for cutting wire. And my father picked on the tool. And he had Exolite. He had a pair of these that were a little bigger. But they were too big to get in places. So I bought this pair. And I bought it at Burger Electronics with my birthday money. And he made fun of this, but they're still working. Like I said, I have tools from when I was little. I didn't abuse this stuff. My father would try to cut something that you shouldn't cut with a pair of tools, diagonal cutters. And I had this one guy at work. He would lock himself out of the car, and he needed to cut a coat hanger. He'd come over to open my drawer and take out a pair of these things, real delicate. And he'd break them, and it didn't even bother him. He didn't break his, he broke mine. And I started locking my drawer. And then one time he put his hand in the drawer, and I closed the drawer on his hand. I told him, get the F out of my drawer. Well, I don't want to walk all the way. You walk all the way over to your thing. You walked in, you realize you locked your keys in the car again, and now you're going to walk to the shortest bench, open my drawer, take my diagonal cutters out and break them on a coat hanger to go open your car. And he did it. I'm talking at least 6 times, okay? And when you cut a coat hanger with these, sometimes you break the side right off, or you dent it so bad in the center it looks like a wire stripper instead of a wire cutter. But every tool has a story, okay? You get a passion for a certain pair of pliers because they fit a certain way in your hand. You've been working with that pair of pliers for years, and you get an attachment. And every so often, somebody will mention like a pin vise. Now you say, well, okay, so I have 2 stories with a pin vise. This came from under a door, and the last time I seen a buddy of mine that I worked with up in Little Falls, Main Street, Little Falls, at a flea market, I bumped into Joe Penapinto. I worked with him in McGraw-Edison. He's deceased now. And I said, you buy these? And he showed me pin vices. And he had a passion for pin vices. And they were Starretts, which is what this one is. Okay? These are made in India, and these aren't that bad. Like I said, but there's gaps in the ranges of what they can hold. And I know what they won't hold. It's a 256 drill for drilling a 256 hole that's going to be tapped. Okay? But he showed me the pin vices he bought. He bought a set of pin vices, and they were Starrett. Got them like for $1, and that's a really good deal. Okay? So whenever I pick one of these up, I immediately think of this one, caught under the door, and Joe Penapinto on Main Street in Little Falls. And he's no longer alive. Okay? Every tool has a story. Will Way. Pickers and Scratchers. It's amazing stuff. The guy, when I see this, the guy, I could say the guy's name, but he's a moron. He would lock himself out of the car, go get a coat hanger, come over to my drawer, open up, and break a pair of my cutters. Okay, and then I have to go to the parts room and tell the girl the whole story, and she'd give me another pair. Okay, I think that's it. All right, that's it.